Yo, what's going on, everybody? Jay What If's back at it again with What If Deku Was Born in America? Part 3. Now, it's kind of crazy that I um am on a part 3 of this already. It's honestly such it's so amazing because I really like this. I thought whenever I first made the first script, I thought I wasn't gonna really like it, but it's actually turning out pretty well. Wow, I have a lot to cover in this one for this to be. Okay, anyways. uh, well, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy What If Deku Was Born in America, Part 3. So, without further ado, I guess I'll say it again. Let's get started. So, continuing where we left off from last time, with Izuku and the class going back up to the to the classroom, and it's revealed that they're gonna need to pick hero names. And I can actually see him picking the name of Raijin. If you guys don't know, it's actually in Japanese mythology, it's actually the lightning god. And I'm saying this because obviously he has an electricity type quirk, and it'd be funny. I could have also just called him Luck, but I think Raijin is a lot better. So after this, it's revealed that they're gonna need to pick interns, and Izuku looks at all his internships, and he sees his mom, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I gotta go with her." So he goes to he goes to his mom Amelia, the pro hero. We're gonna say her name is. So we're gonna say his mom's hero name is Dianmu, which, if you guys don't know, again, it is the Chinese goddess of lightning. Because why not? I think it's sick. If you guys disagree, then I'm sorry. But after this, I can see him going and interning with her, and he actually sees Pony and Melissa there as well. And because he picks his mom and they're stationed around where UA is, I don't see them going out and visiting Hosu. So I can actually see the Stain situation going something like this. POV of Ida. Stain, I will kill you for what you did to my brother. And Stain's just like, another fake hero. And Ida's just laying there like, oh. Yeah. And one not so pro hero and then one pro hero lost their lives. I can see it going like that. I mean, I'm sorry, but come on now. And over this break, or not break, but over the internship time, I could see Izuku just working a lot on his lightning channeling and his lightning teleportation and just his overall speed in general. And honestly, I'm gonna say he tries to develop his lightning cloak more, so that way if he ever needed it, he could use it to actually heal his wounds if they're not so serious. And I could see that news would break to Izuku about Ida, and I feel like Izuku would feel horrible because it's the one person in Class 1A that was able to actually match his speed. And after he finds out about this, I can actually see him kind of having a mourning moment. So they get a whole 1 month time to be able to relax and to be able to process this. And I could see Deku for once not training, and it's weird because his whole life he's been training, since he was 2. He's actually no, since he's been 5 or 6, he's been training with his mom, and I could see him actually taking this month to just chill. And I could see them all going to class and actually being pretty gloomy, and Aizawa and the principal seeing this would actually probably cancel the forest training arc for now, or the forest training camp for now. And I could see after this them still having finals, but instead of them having to fight the pro heroes, they fight robots instead. And Izuku is not dumb by any means, so he doesn't really have to study for the finals, and he takes it's 2 or 3 months where he's just not really training, but he's going to mourn Ida, because his classmate, which he had such a deep respect for, just passed away. And after the finals, I could see Aizawa bringing it up the forest training camp, and everybody agreeing that it should probably be canceled just for now, and it should probably be a little bit closer to the hero exam but like not so close to where they can't get any training in. And I was always like, oh, I completely understand, and I agree. So then I would say we get a bit like of like a 3-4 month like time skip, and Izuku finally starts training again after the first month, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna push past this so that way I can be better and faster for Ida. So all he does is speed training. Like that's all he's been doing is speed training and working on his lightning cloak so that way he can learn how to heal. And after those like 3-4 months, I can see, as I was saying, something about the forced training camp and how they're also going to have the hero license exam in 3 months, we'll say. So everybody's like, all right, cool. And I could see everybody going and getting their permission slip signed, and Izuku's like, yeah, finally some time where I can relax and still train, and everybody's just like, yeah. And Melissa brings up the fact that 1B is going to be joining, and he's like, oh, that's so cool, we didn't know about that. And she's just like, oh, we probably shouldn't have told you, but make sure you keep it a secret from everyone else. And Izuku's like, yeah, of course. So I could see within the next week they head to the like forest, and they're on a cliff, and Izuku immediately knows. He's like, oh gosh, I can just fence it. And immediately everybody gets thrown off the cliff, and Izuku's like, hey everybody, do you just want me to like blitz there and blitz everyone there and back? And everybody's like, yes. So that's what Izuku does. So he just activates his lightning boots and his gauntlets, and he just absolutely demolishes all of the monsters, and he just zips back and forth. Which I could see, like, with everybody and with the distance that they had to cover, which I think was like 5 miles. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. I think they had to cover 5 miles, and it took them 3 hours, and with all of the monsters and stuff. So I could see it taking him about like an hour, and all of the teachers are kind of impressed, but like not really, because it still took an hour for 5 miles. So after this, I could see I could honestly see Mineta trying to climb the wall, and Izuku just stops and like, yeah, nah, we ain't doing all that. Like, because he thinks that 1B is there, and he thinks that 1B is on that side already. With that, like, he doesn't want his sister and Pony being looked at. And I could see, like, over the internship, like, I could see him and Pony, like, getting pretty like, close, and honestly becoming pretty good friends. So if he didn't hear about it from Melissa, he definitely would have heard about it from Pony. And after this, I could see Izuku like trying to bond with Koda, and every single time Koda just tries and like smacks him or hit him in the balls or doing a bunch of things, and Izuku would just dodge like, nah, we ain't doing all that. Like, you are not getting me with that, bro. Like, and Koda's just being like, whatever, and walking off, and Izuku's like, I'm gonna make you like me. I swear it. Like, I like kids. Like, I'm chilling because, you know, like, not like, no, like, he likes kids. No Diddy. That's all I'm gonna say. No Chris Tyson. So after this, I could see them all going through training, and all the teachers are like, hey, Izuku, so we don't really have like a speed-based trainer unless we had All Might here. So instead, what we're gonna be having you do is, so we have this like massive sand pit, and we want you to just run without your quirk. And Izuku's like, oh, I've been doing that for years. And they're like, oh, and add a 100-pound training vest. And he's like, 100 pounds? And they're like, yeah, if you want to learn how to carry people with your quirk, you're gonna have to be able to carry over 100 pounds. And he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. And they're all just like, okay, now go. And Izuku immediately is like, oh gosh, and he just starts running on this sand, and he's just like, oh, this hurts so bad. And after like 2 hours, his legs are just absolutely fried, and he's just like, oh, this is gonna hurt so bad for like a week. Because if y'all have never done sand training, it kind of sucks, even without a weighted vest. But imagine Izuku, he would probably be like 165, I would say, pounds. With an extra weighted vest on, he would be 265, trying to run at full speed with no power up, full speed on a sand. Yeah, nah. If you guys have trained on sand, you know how hard it is just to have your body weight. If you guys have ever tried to walk across the beach on the dry sand, it sucks. You know how bad your calves hurt after? Yeah. That's just a little bit of a rant. I'm sorry. But I can see it's like a 2-week training period. So I could see that happening for the first week, and then the second week they want him to honestly purely just be working on his quirk and upping the voltage he can intake. So I could see them just giving him a massive generator that just generates like 200,000 volts, like to up to like 1,000,000 volts, and he can just amp it up however he needs. So I can see him like training with that, and I could see after the second week, I could see his voltage going up from 120. I think that's what I had it at. Yeah, like 120, and I could see it jumping all the way up to 250. But the max that he uses on people is about 10,000, just so that way it's just enough to knock them out, but not enough to harm them for a substantial amount of time. So, sorry if this seems like kind of like rushed and boring. Like since it's so close to the hero license exam, I might just include that in this part. So this might be a 3-part series instead of a 2-part series. So just be aware of that. If you guys are watching, I want you all to comment no part 3 question mark. I mean no part 4 question mark. That's what you guys should comment down below. If you guys have watched this far in. And so after this, I could see him going and seeing Coda every night, and Coda just being like, get away, get away, get away. But one night, like Coda like finally just like lets it all out on him and just like tells him everything. And I could see Izuku just being like, it's okay, kid, blah blah blah. I might still have my parents, but I know that it can't be easy because I'm not sure if you're aware of this. And he goes into talking about Ida and like how they had like a somewhat of a friendship and mutual respect for each other. And Coda's just like, yeah, I know, I heard, I'm so sorry, like, I was being inconsiderate and letting my feelings get the best of me. Oh gosh, that feels weird. Anyways, so, after this, I can see Muscular popping up. And I could see Izuku just, like, being, like, shocked, like, what the heck? What is this dude? And I could see, like, him seeing, like, every single little strand of electricity being made between the muscle fibers, and him being, like, and start drooling, like, oh, this opponent, oh, it's gonna be magnificent. And him just being like, Coda, get out of here, kid. And, like, and start getting that, like, Luck Voltia smile on his face, like, I'm about to rip you to shreds. Those muscle fibers aren't gonna regenerate fast enough when I'm done with you. And Muscular's like, huh, dumb brat. You won't be able to do anything. You're probably not even fast enough. Where'd you go? And Izuku just all of a sudden blitzes and, like speed blitzes him. Like, if there's anyone in this series who can speed blitz, it is Deku. And I could see him yoinking and yoinking and yoinking like different muscle fibers, and that hurts. Think about like if you guys have ever pulled a muscle, like think about that but over and over again on individual strands, and Muscular's feeling it everywhere, and he can't even see where it's coming from, and he doesn't know where it's going to be happening next because Izuku was just zapping all around him, like zapping in between and out of his like electricity aura. And eventually Muscular's like, ugh, this hurts so bad, and he demuscularizes, and Izuku's like, oh, it just was getting fun. And I can see Muscular like trying to start running away, like, oh gosh, this hurts so bad. And he realizes Izuku took out all of the major muscle parts. Like, he took out most of his quad muscles, so that way he couldn't use like his extension. He couldn't extend it or whatever. Yeah, it would be extension because that activates the quad. Like, I could see him, like, yoinking a few quad muscles and a few hamstrings, so he couldn't extend or bend his knee, and then his bicep and his tricep muscles, so that way, and a little bit of the muscles inside of your elbow, and the tendons in there, so that way, like, he couldn't move. Like, he couldn't move his arms, he couldn't move his legs, and, like, it was gonna take a while for this to heal, like, a good few months. And Izuku's like, man, I really thought you were gonna be tough. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to take you to Aizawa. And he puts him on his shoulder and just zaps away, like, at the speed of light. And he's just like, Aizawa, I have another one for you. And Aizawa's just like, wait, another one? And he's like, yeah, well, I mean, you know that guy over there? And Aizawa's just like, yeah, he's the one whose aura I was feeling. And he's like, well, I took him out, like, a few minutes ago. Like, you've been just feeling the aura that he's been just, like, pushing off. But, I mean, here he is. And he's like, oh, thanks, kid. Wait, when did you do that? And he's like, oh, just now, whenever I was walking over. And he's like, wait, that was a walk? And he's like, dude, that sand trading, I don't think you understand how fast I've become from it. And I was always just like, fair point. And Izuku's just like, yeah, I would say my limit is about, okay, since his quirk is electricity to lightning, and lightning actually moves at a average speed of around 186,000 miles per hour, or no, that's miles per second. Miles per hour is 270,000. So I'm gonna say that he can move around 250,000, and the only reason why he can keep his body can keep up with it and he's not burning up is because of his lightning cloak. So yeah, that's the speed of lightning, and I'm gonna dumb it down like 20,000 just because it's like I don't want to make him too OP. Because if you guys didn't know this, that means it would take him an hour to travel to the moon and back if he could fly, or 1.5 seconds to get from London all the way to Bristol. Which is insanity. So we're gonna say he's about 250,000 miles per hour. Cool. So I was always just like, okay, go get him, kid. And I think you all know what this means. He is not going to be losing Bakugo at all. Like, I'm sorry, but he is going to be way too fast to lose Bakugo to, who teleported him away? I think it was one for one. Or was it? No, it was Kurogiri. So, I can see Izuku just blitzing around the forest, and he's like trying to find his classmates, and all of a sudden sees Tokoyami just going crazy, and he sees Moonfish just laying there, and he's like, Tokoyami, why did you do this? And Tokoyami's like, help, I'm losing control, and he's just like, fine, and he just brights like a massive flash of light, and everybody's just like, what? And everybody just sees it, like everyone, even like the villains see it, like everyone, and Izuku's just like, yeah, are you guys going to, help? And all of a sudden, like, we just see them starting to, like, run off and, like, go and try and find Todoroki and Bakugo, so that way, Deku doesn't have to try and keep up with this alone. And, what can I see happening after this? I can see Compress, like, trying to, like, sneak them, because he knows, like, that there's a lightning quirk user and he's pretty fast. So I can see him trying to sneak them. But, I mean, come on. Izuku's kind of broken. Like, he can sense lightning around people, and he can sense the shift of static electricity in the air. So he would immediately sense Mr. Compress and launch a lightning bolt. And Mr. Compress is like, ouch! That wasn't very kind of you. And like compressing himself and putting himself in, it's like, well, how do I get myself out of this situation? And Mr. Compress is like, maybe I should bottle you up first. And he's about to bottle up, I guess I should say marble up Izuku. And Izuku just like is like, nah, I ain't finished with him. And he just like zip, zip, and speed bliss of his man just molly rocks him straight down to the ground, knocking him out, like knocking his fast off. So everybody's just like, what? And all of a sudden, I can see Bakugo and Tokoyami getting a gray, like, liquidy substance around them, and everybody's like, wait, what is that? And all of a sudden, both of them disappear. And I know I said to y'all that Bakugo and Tokoyami were going to be disappearing, but I don't know. I just find it, I want to cover, like, a few more things. So I can see, like, Deku, like, sensing the electricity around Bakugo and Tokoyami, and it just disappearing. And he immediately runs after both of them, and he ends up snagging Tokoyami and just barely missing Bakugo. Like, by not even, you couldn't even slip, like, a piece of paper. Like, that's how close it was. But he just gets TP'd away because Deku, he just didn't sense it fast enough. And he's gonna feel awful about this, and I could see them all like gathering up the villains and taking him to Aizawa and doing all the basic stuff like that. And then I could see that Momo like reveals to everyone that she has the tracker immediately because she knows that like nobody's gonna be playing around about this. And Izuku immediately takes the tracker and immediately runs off, and he's like, nah, this guy is hooked. and I'm gonna say it takes him like 10-15 minutes, but he goes and gets All Might first because he's like, I'm still not a pro hero. Like he's thinking at like such a rapid pace, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna get Aizawa and I'm gonna get All Might. He grabs Aizawa and All Might and he runs to the lair and he's like, this is where the villain that kidnapped Bakugo is. And All Might's like, wait, kidnap Bakugo? And he's like, oh, I can't have this. And immediately All Might bursts in and sees All For One, and All For One is like, wait, how'd you find me so fast? Dang, rat, isn't it? And he just sees Izuku and he's like, Izuku Midori, or Izuku's shield. Well, I wasn't expecting you here so fast. And immediately Izuku's like, Bakugo, I will save you. And Bakugo's just like, because he still has like something covering his mouth. But he just looks terrified. And immediately I can see Izuku just speed blitzing towards Bakugo, but All For One reacts to this and like clotheslines him. And immediately, like, because that Izuku, he can think at such a fast pace that he like ducks under it and he's like, whoa, and he stops like just in front of Bakugo and he's like, Bakugo, I will protect you. This guy, I don't know what's up with him, but he can react even at my fastest speed. And he's like, I guess I'm just gonna have to surpass those limits. And All For One is like, wait, what? And everybody's just like, what? You can just go faster? And he's like, y'all don't know how this like works? I mean, I'm the main character. Like, come on now. And no, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna give him just like crazy OP because I want to. Well, I might, but not right now. It's definitely gonna be after the All For One fight. So I can see all my just like boom, 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 and launching 3 massive attacks at All For One, like destroying the lair. And I can see All For One to be like, Toshinori, you've only gotten weaker, haven't you? And everybody's like, wait, what? No, that's not how this is supposed to work. This is a hero, you're a villain. You're supposed to lose. Anyways, I can see Aizawa like, All Might, I was canceling his quirk out. Like, you're cooked, buddy. And All Might's like, and like having a massive gulp. I hope that picked that up on the microphone. But after this, I could see Izuku grabbing Bakugo and running out while All For One is distracted. And he puts him on the Hosu town square. Or not the Hosu, but the other town square. And I can see him running back and like going and helping All Might. And he's like, All Might, you ready? And All Might's like, kid, you're not supposed to be back here. And he's like, dude, if I wasn't back here, you'd be cooked. Like, more cooked than a well-done steak that doesn't have any flavor at all. And All Might would just be like, wow, you really think that? And he's like, dude, I know that. Look at this dude. Aizawa couldn't even cancel out his quirk. And All Might's just like, I suppose you might be right, young Midoriya, or young Shield. Oh yeah, me and your father, we go way back, by the way. And he's like, yeah, I know. He's told me the story a million times. And he's just like, youch. Tough crowd. Okay. And I could just see, sorry, I was dropping something. And I could see Izuku and All Might just start bum rushing All For One. And All For One, I could see him getting pushed back a bit, and I could see All For One just like stepping back, and he's like, fine, time for my final move. I was gonna save this when you were on your last leg, but I guess I'm gonna have to use it now. And I can see like a bunch of electricity coming off of it, and Izuku's like, yummy, yummy, that's mine now, and teleporting over and just yoinking all the electricity like, no, and just zapping it straight at All For One's like breathing mask, and All For One just gets it tanked off, and he's like, and it's revealed like just like nasty scars, and he's like, ew, brother, ew. And Izuku's just like, ew, what are you? And he like kick, like the Itadori combo, sending All For One flying. And All For One is like, wow, you are surprisingly powerful. How old are you again? And Izuku just being like, oh, I'm 14, 15, and oh no, he'd be 16 in this, I think. Yeah, he'd be 16. And he'd be like, oh, I'm 16. And he's like, kid, join me. I can make you even more powerful. And Izuku's like, let me think about it. No thank you. And just like bum rushing him again and just going, quack. This is what you get for trying to kidnap my besto friendo. Like Toto style. And he's like, hey, All Might, boogie woogie. Oh my gosh, he claps and they swap places and All Might just starts giving a barrage and he's like, clap. And this just goes over and over and over. And All For One, he's already been knocked out for like a solid minute or two, and eventually it's All Might's turn to clap in, and he's like, "Oh, Young Shield, he's already," and Izuku just claps in, and he's like, "Da ba 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 ba," and All Might stops him, and he's just like, "Oh, my bad, I got lost in the sauce for a second there," and he's just like, "You're fine, but what about his successor?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I already got him," and All Might's just like, "Wait, what? Like, you already got the blue-haired kid?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, he's already in prison now, I would hope. I mean, I had him like completely wrapped up in capture tape, and I blocked his hands off, so I don't see why he could even touch it or touch the ground or anything." So, and All Might's just like, "Wow, you have amazingly good senses." And he's like, "Yeah, I know, I'm just built different." And All Might's like, "I can see that." Anyways. And then I could see them having like another like 1 month break ish, and after this 1 month break, Izuku just uses for pure training, and he just like tries to surpass his limits, and he goes up to sand training again, but he ups it to about 200 pounds. So now he can cover like an average grown man, not just like a small child. Like on sand, which means he could probably carry up to like 250, I would say. And that's just like a rough estimate. Like while running at full speed, even without his quirk. I could see him, honestly, I would see just for a month of training, I would see his speed jump up from 250 all the way up to 270, like 280, like all the way back up to the speed of lightning. Because we'll say that he was at like 260, and then the whole Ida thing happened, and then he like dropped down to 230, and then for just 2 weeks he went back up to 250, and then now he's at 280 again. So he's about 10,000 miles per hour over the speed of lightning. Yeah, we'll go into the provisional hero license exam, I guess. I'm just gonna say this now. I really don't see it going that far, but I'll cover it anyways. So they have the 2 months of training, and I'm going to say during these like next month or two before the hero license exam, I guess Izuku actually training to put his cloak onto other people, so that way it can heal them and make them like a little bit stronger and a little bit like more adept in certain things. Um, Kind of like Naruto, how he put the Biju cloak on certain people, or the Ninetales cloak on the allies. So something like that, and I would say he gets pretty proficient in it. So it's finally the hero license exam, and he would not fall for the fake guy, because he would immediately just like sense a shift in his static and would, be like, "If you're gonna be a bad person, at least say that. Like, don't try and be fake." And the dude is like, "How'd you tell so fast?" And he's like, "Dude, it's really not that hard to tell." And everybody's just like, "Yeah, you're right." So they go in, and all four walls drop, and I could see Izuku just immediately just bum rushing people. Like immediately just gets like 2, 3 people out, and he's just like, I'm done. And he just goes back to the waiting room, and like he gets what he needs, and he goes. And this, I could see everything just going exactly as it does in canon. And then like he doesn't really have any friends in 1A. Like he has like mutuals, but I don't see him having like crazy good friends in UA except for Tokoyami. So I could see him helping out Tokoyami a bit, and then a little bit of Todoroki, a little bit of Bakugo. But Bakugo and Todoroki are kind of just like, "Let me do this my way," and he's just like, "Oh, okay," and just leaves them. And then after this, I think y'all remember like when I said, because I only said it a minute or two ago, about him being able to put his lightning cloak on other people. Yeah, so he would just like immediately just go through and pick up everyone and put his cloak around them and put them on the mat, and then not even giving Gang Orca time to come out. And then immediately whenever Gang Orca comes out, he would just dodge the sound waves, because he's already way faster than the speed of sound, and he would feel like a shift in the electrostatic in the air. So that's what I would say would really be happening, and I could see pretty much everyone passing as they did in canon. and no like remediation, because I could see Kami just being Kami, because he already took out Toga. Like, I want y'all to know, like, the League of Villains are done. Like, there's not, like, I don't really see how they didn't catch all of the League of Villains in the original by this point, but you know, like, it did not need to be this big of a problem. And I guess, like, there are sources and all blah blah blah, but I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I could see them all going back to school and them having their provisional hero like licenses, and Mirio and the big three coming in, and the whole like, if you can tag me, and Izuku's like, okay, I already did it. And Mirio's like, wait, what? And he's like, oh yeah, do you not feel that? Here, let me do it again. And just tags him like 15 more times in the span of like 2 seconds. And Mirio's like, huh, well, I guess you guys won. I don't really have anything better to say. And this is actually going to be an interesting portion. So I could see him like going to Sir Night-Eye and like trying to make him laugh, and it failing miserably, and he's like, all right, you have to try and get the stamp. And I can see him immediately beating Sir Night-Eye's foresight. Like, he's bouncing it around the room and blah 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 blah, and he's like, and Izuku's trying to get the stamp, and he's just like, oh, okay. And he just zips around the room following the stamp, and he's like, and he's dodging, like, he's just completely dodging his foresight. And he was just like, how are you so fast that you just dodge foresight? Like, it lets me know like 8 seconds in the future, but your moves, they're so fast, I can't even see in my foresight. And he's like, oh, well, I can slow him down, I mean. And he's like, no, you mean you got the stamp. So after this, about like a week goes by, and Izuku's just on patrol with Mirio, and he feels a little touch on his leg, and he hears, don't let me go back. It was fun. It was so scary. Don't let me go back, please. And he looks down, he sees this little girl with white hair and a horn, and he's just like, it's okay, little one. And he looks down the alleyway, he's like, that's my property, give it back. And Izuku's like, no, I don't think I will. And Mirio's like, dude, give her back. And him just being like, no, why would I just do this? Mirio, hold her. And him giving her Mirio and just cracking his knuckles like, I'm gonna make you feel every single little bit of pain that you made this little girl feel. And he activates his lightning boots, and they go all the way up to his like waist, and then him acting his gauntlets, and they just hover like it's like a full-on like leather, like it's like a full-on like jacket that's unzipped. And he's just like, oh, you're gonna feel it. And it has a little lightning hood, and he puts the hood on, and he's like, you're gonna hurt. And it changes his voice, and he's just terrified. And Overhaul is just like, and like, he's just terrifying. And Overhaul is just like, give her back, or I'm going to do something that you're gonna make me want a regret. And immediately he gets cut off to a massive boo 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 boo. If you guys understand that, but just a massive boom to the back of his skull, knocking him out instantly. Like, dude, he traveled around the world and smacked him in the back of the head in the span of like, just immediately. Like, come on now, like this would hurt. Like, I could see Overhaul slamming his head into concrete and doing 15 flips into oncoming traffic. And if you guys know the Dora meme, like, if I'm not gonna say that, but it, like the Dora like meme where she's just bouncing in between cars and then lands like on the sidewalk. If you guys know what I'm talking about, that's elite level humor right there. So I can see that JA Saikai raid going something like that. And honestly, I could see Izuku, once he finds out the raid, just bum rushing in, stealing all of the like everything, and then running out. like I don't think y'all understand how OP lightning quirks have the possibility of being, purely just because of like, if Naruto existed in the world, I think if like the Naruto like manga series existed in the MHA world, I think Denki would see Killer Bee, or not Killer Bee, but the Raikage, and just be like, oh, that's my guy, and then learn how to do it, and then do the exact same thing. So I could see that happening, and I would say that's pretty much it. So yeah, I just want to say, you guys, thank you so much for watching What If Deku Was Born in America Part 3. And I know this was kind of the finale, and I didn't really say that in the intro, but this story was kind of short, because it was like, at the end of the day, it's like if Deku had the Speed Force. Like, I don't think you guys understand how much like Marvel and DC comics dumb down the Speed Force and all of that. Because at the end of the day, if a character has a Speed Force, that means they have the facilities to be able to go into the Speed Force, like go the speed of light, and they don't use it. They have the ability to think at the speed of light, and they don't use it. Like that just doesn't, it doesn't correlate. Right? So, anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And if you guys liked this video, go watch the other two. You probably should have watched those first, but with that being said, have a wonderful night. Peace.